For today, this training is fully based on how to plan out your Q2 uh, goals, targets, whatever you want to call them. So we're looking at what you want to achieve in your business or general life for that matter for April, May, and June. Okay. Usually what I suggest people do is create a yearly target for all three relationships, their body and business. And then what we break those down into is quarterly kind of benchmarks and then monthly and weekly. But for now, quarter two. Why does this even matter to you? Well, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. It's not my quote, but I like it. So the more focused we are on strategically planning, hey, what do I want to get out of the next 90 days, the next quarter, we're going to have a much higher likelihood of actually creating those results that we desire. So to begin with, this 30, 60, 90 are all benchmarks. Hey, what can we achieve by day 30? What will we achieve by day 60? And what will we achieve by day 90, the end of the quarter? So, for example, to begin with relationships, we want to go down in this specific sequence as what, why, when, and how. The how is going to be the hardest part, and you're not going to have to like figure out how just in this second. Right now, you just want to primarily focus on the what, why, when, and then how you can put a little bit of an idea on what to do there. We really just want to kind of flesh out what it is that you actually want. So, for example, in relationships, I'll give you some ideas for each one of these examples. But when you are strategically trying to make positive strides in your life, it is a good idea to have, a well-rounded direction with this. So relationships are really important. Our physical body is important, and our business is important too. But if we do all these three things in tandem, you'll have a lot better results than if you focus heavy on one of them. Because I can't like run a high performance business if I'm not taking care of myself physically, or if I'm not taking care of my relationships, because lots of my family is supportive of me with my goals in my business, for example. But if I don't, invest in those relationships as well, what am I doing all this for? What's the point, right? So in any event, relationships. So for me personally, like what I like to do is what? And like what I can do is get you access to this if you want, where you can just print this literal framework off yourself and then physically write it into there. But what it's so for example, with my son, we're gonna say bi weekly dates. Now that simply means, hey, we're going to go to a movie together. I'm going to intentionally spend time with him. Another example for that would be monthly 2-night mini vacations. Now, obviously, this is not fitting into the 30, 60, 90. I'm just spitballing some ideas here. So then why? Why is this important? For me, it's important because I want to invest into these relationships and ensure that I have um, the depth of the relationship that I want, and to make sure that I don't forget about, hey, I get so busy doing my other stuff that I don't invest in the things that really matter to me, which is often my family. So I'll just give that as an example. Why? Because I am modeling behavior for my son who's 11, and I want to show him how to consistently and proactively invest in yourself and your family. That's why. When? Well, what I can start to do is look at my calendar. And for example, we're going to go on a couple-day trip this week. So that's one of them. So, out of my three for 2-night monthly vacations, I'm going to get one done right this week. So when I just might plan approximately, you don't have to have the exact dates, but each month when those are going to be. How? Well, the how for this is pretty simple. Literally, just put it in my calendar and plan it. Add it to my calendar. Okay, so we'll kind of skip through body too, same type of thing. So what? It's really dependent on where you want. Maybe you want to up your nutrition game. Maybe you want to become more physically active in general, or maybe you want to get dental surgery. Like it's really whatever that is beneficial to your body. So, for example, let's just say you have cataracts, and you're like, my goal for this 90 days is to actually book that appointment with my doctor to get checked out and then get surgery to remove these cataracts. Well, that is something that is tangible in your body that you can, create 60, 90, 30-day benchmarks for. I'll tell you mine specifically. So, for example, it's weekly 24-hour fasting. So that's 12 of those. And then I also want to do, you can just have one, but if you've done this for a while, I've been doing like this kind of planning for like 7 years. So I can kind of have a lot of plates in the air. Another is 2 jiu-jitsu competitions. Okay. So why? Why is this important to me? Well, physically, it's important to me for the fasting because I realize I actually feel a lot more energetic if I am not eating constantly. Even though I enjoy eating, it's like my body doesn't require all these calories. And that when I do fast, it kind of provides a little bit of a physical reset for me, but I have a positive benefit of mentally, I feel a lot more clear during a portion of that time. So that's part of the why. Why for jujitsu? Well, why? Because it's a wonderful community. It makes me excited. It's a physical outlet for me in numerous capacities. And I know I don't like competing, and it makes me feel super uncomfortable and sometimes sick. But like, I know it's beneficial to help me grow because if I can handle these stressors, I'm going to be able to grow in other ways and not avoid stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable or anxious. So there's numerous reasons, but I'll just leave it at that. When is it going to be? I know for my fasting, the when is Sunday to Monday. So from like 9 p.m. Sunday to 9 p.m. Monday, that's going to be my fasting window where I just only consume water, maybe some coffee too, but no calories, essentially. How? Well, the how is pretty easy for these two things because my how can be for my fasting. I'm going to make sure I have maybe some varied drinks so I can consume something. Another how would be like, hey, I'm going to have some bubbly water, some like sparkling water, because the carbonation makes me feel a bit fuller, even though I'm not, and I'm really hungry. So that can be a how. The BJJ competition, well, the how is of that is literally just physically booking those, um, competitions into my calendar and planning everything around it. Anyways, so for business, the what here is probably going to be dependent on what you're doing. But let's just pretend it's a new stream of revenue or a certain dollar amount that you're looking to make. Might be team building. Could be more clients, like whatever it is, right? But you have to have some kind of focus for the 90 days would be my suggestion. The other could be like it's just a monetary amount. Hey, I want to make an extra 5 grand per month. How am I going to do that? Well, you might have to do one of the aforementioned examples, but having that idea of where you want to go will make it simpler for you to physically get there. So let's just say, for sake of an argument, that you want to make a certain amount. Let's erase this. Let's say you want to add $5,000 per month. What? 5K extra per month, which we might actually change that. I'm going to make an extra 15,000. So for the quarter, you want to make an extra 15,000. What? 15K. Why? Maybe you have to pay some bills. Maybe you took a SEBA loan that you need to pay back. Maybe you want to invest in some capital like turf or something for your facility. Maybe you want to get another bathing station so you can create more income because you've got a lot more clients. Whatever it is, just write down why. I want to give myself a raise. I want to give my staff a raise. I want to purchase a new computer. I don't really care what it is. You just need to be mindful why it's important to you. When? Well, this is pretty simple. Well, when am I going to do it? I'm going to do it by the end of 90 days. How is where it gets fun. How are you going to break that up? How are you going to achieve it? Are you going to get more clients? Are you going to do a new stream of revenue? Like I could do an entire call just on how. So I'm not going to do that in this moment. But the basic premise is what we can do is take one of these examples and then iron out like what it might look like for a 30, 60, and 90-day benchmark. So I'm just going to erase all this so it looks cleaner. And I'm going to shift over, if I can, there, to, let's say, the business for, that was 15,000. Okay. So $15,000 per month, it's pretty easy, 5, 5, and 5. Obviously, if you're like, well, I have no idea where I'm going to get 5,000 from, well, then you might think of it being like maybe, let's say, 3,000 for the first month, and then 5,000 for the second month, which is now at 8,000, and then 7,000 for the last one. So it's a bit more of a gradual increase, which would give you a little bit more time to figure out how you're going to get there. So for the 30-day benchmark between day 1, which is today, to day 30, how could you potentially add an extra, 3,000 to your income? Well, the biggest way you are going to do that is filling up existing services. So let's just pretend you realize, hey, I have 20 grooming slots. Or you have, let's see, 10 daycare slots. Or maybe you also have 5 dog training. Maybe you're doing a whole bunch of stuff. But the premise is like, what services do you currently have that you could fill up more? And just make a note of that. Because let's say that you are only a doggy daycare and you're like, hey, we're not full. We could actually facilitate an extra 20 dogs visiting per week, which turns into 80 slots per month. Well, what is that divided by $3,000? If we have all those dogs coming, 80 slots divided by 5, oh, sorry, it's $3,000. That's $3,750. So if you filled those 80 slots in a month, it would bring you that extra $3,000. So then how many is that per week? Well, that's 20 slots per week. So, what you'd be looking to do in this first 30 days is get approximately 80 slots filled if your daycare was $3,750 per day. Obviously, if you have higher ticket items, it might be like dog training. Well, I only need 2 clients. If I get 2 extra clients this month, that could look like that. So you really just want to focus on, well, what would you be looking at? I have to figure out where the money might come from or where I have room. So I'm not going to figure out how I'm going to get there until I know, or I'm not going to figure out what the marketing plan is going to be or who I'm going to reach out to or whatever until I have an idea of I need 2 more clients, 2 more dog training clients, or I need 40 new daycare clients, or whatever the circumstance is. I also said 80 slots for daycare because some dogs might come once or twice. Let's just say they came once a week. Well, that same dog is going to take 4 slots themselves for the month. So it's not as like scary as it might feel just because they take 1 slot per week. If they're on a weekly, well, then there's 4 already there. So just be mindful. If they came twice a week, that one dog would be, what is that, 8? 8 slots for them. So anyways, whatever you decide to do is up to you. Let's pretend you have a $750 dog training offer. Well, for 3,000, you need 4 new clients. That's 1 per week. So that's where we think about the 60-day benchmarks. How can we break this down into 60-day benchmarks? Let's just talk about dog training for the sake of an argument. And your average offer is $750 private program. Okay, that equals 4 new clients. So then that's 1 per week. Obviously, you can do 2 in 1 week or 3 or whatever, but that's how you're going to go from, day 1 here to day 30 and hit that $3,000. Now, let's say you only offer that and you want to go the next month. Let's pretend you hit that target. Well, what is it next month? Can't seem to do the math. I'm going to do it right now. $5,000 divided by 750 is not the right thing. 6.6. So for month 2, if you want to hit that target, you need, seven new clients. And then you just divide that same thing for 7,000. So if you want to make 7,000 that last month, it's going to be around 9.3. So if you did 7 in between day 30 to 60, and then you added another 9, in between 60 and 90, you would hit your 7,000. And then here you would hit your 5,000. So it's just trying to break it down into bite-sized pieces. That's all I would suggest really focusing on doing today is like, what do I need per month and how many clients does that translate to? If you don't know, because you're starting a new stream of revenue, that's an entirely another call. But for the time being, this is what I would focus on: relationship, body, business, what, why, how, what, why, how, what, why, how. And then have these benchmarks of, okay, what do I need to accomplish each 30, 60, and 90 days? For the sake of this training for today, all I would have you do is comment Q2, as in quarter 2, if you'd like to learn a step-by-step process on how to, number 1, plan this, if you need more help than what I've provided today, and number 2, execute on it and actually achieve these results. So go ahead and comment that now if that's something you're interested in learning about. Otherwise, take care.